I looked around one day and I said, this isn't what I signed up for. I always knew I wanted to do something creative. Working in Manhattan and wearing a suit every day was like the future for me.
Is there one thing that you wish you had known before you left the corporate setting?
How hard new business. I really underestimated exactly how hard.
If you had to choose between happiness or success, which one would you choose?
I stopped putting myself into this box of what my success is supposed to look like. I could keep creating milestones for me to be happy at, or I could just be happy now.
Welcome back to 101 Ways Out. I'm your host, Vanessa Jupi, and today I'm going to introduce you to Marianne Kaiser. She left the corporate agency world behind and started her own agency. Now, this year 2 in business, she's on track to make $1 million in revenue. Amazing. She also learned from some of the best teachers that you can find, and she's going to drop some of those notes in this interview. I hope you love this conversation as much as I did, and I hope you like, subscribe, and share. Until next week, listen along, and then go rewrite the rules. Talk to you next time. Thank you again so much for being here. Let's just kick things off with a quick intro about you, who you are, and where you are in your life right now. What's going on?
Okay, great. So Marianne Kaiser, and I'm so excited to be here. My company, I'm a founder of a company called Contrary Collective, and we've been in business for 1 year, almost to the date. So it's a really exciting milestone for us. The company does marketing, branding, things like that, but really what I think sets us apart and what I set off on my journey to do is create a space where creatives can partner directly with clients. I worked at agencies for a very long time where there were lots of layers and lots of different people on all these calls with our clients. And so when the clients wanted to make an impact, by the time it got to our team, we were told what we were creating rather than why we were creating it. And so I like to dig in. Everyone that works with me likes to dig in and understand what the goals are, what the challenges are. And then we create content, different marketing materials that will help our clients reach those goals rather than just checking the box and deliverables. And so that's professional. And then from a personal standpoint, I have 2 children. One is going to turn 3 in just a month, and it blows my mind that in a month I'll have a 3-year-old. And then my daughter is 4, and in January, she'll be turning 5. So we're really in the thick of it between me starting a company and having 2 little kids. And we live here in Kansas City. And it's fantastic.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing. So you thought, I have these 2 very small children. I might as well go on my own and start a business. That totally seems right.
Yeah. So I probably would have done it sooner had I not just had a baby. So I had been working at this company in California. They were the best company I've ever worked for. There were 4 owners. They were true to their word when I met them. And they said, we want to start a company where people have work-life balance, where the clients aren't taking over all of their weekends. And we understand that at the end of the day, we are in a client service business, but it's important for creative people to breathe and to have space to do things and make great work. And they upheld that, and it was an amazing place to be. And eventually they sold. And it's sort of one of those classic stories where I looked around one day and I said, this isn't what I signed up for. This isn't what I was looking for. And I had just had my son. And so it didn't feel like the time to start a company. And so I looked around and I found a company that promised me the world. They said, we're looking to build up a creative department. You've done this before. We want you to do what you need to here. And carte blanche, do what you need to get it done. So I jumped onto that boat. And after about a year, I realized that their actions weren't aligning with those words. And so then I sort of felt like, well, I could do what I did after Thomas was born and jump into another boat and hope that it works out. Or I could go out on my own. So that's what we did. And it was scary because of that fact, because he was so little. There was just so much panic, But I thought I would either wither in that job while trying to find another job, or I could just quit and go from there.
That all happened fairly quickly then, the transition. So talk to me a little bit about the company that you were with that really did align well. How long were you there before they sold the organization?
I think it was 4 years.
Oh, okay.
And so I was there a long time, and it was an amazing experience. And the person that I worked for when I started was an art director like me, and he knew he wanted to retire. And so he always said he was looking for an apprentice, like someone to really learn what he was doing. And he shared all of his knowledge with me. There was no gatekeeping. He was not secretive about the things that he knew. And it was an experience I'd had before, but this was on another level because he started the company. So it's really getting like the inside view. And when he retired, I ended up switching my reporting to his partner, who was a copywriter. And I had the same experience. It was kind of wild. And he pushed me outside of my limits. He was like, "You've been doing art direction for a long time, and I see where you want to go, and I see your drive. So you're going to have to get more comfortable with writing." And so he pushed me to try new things. Always. If I asked to do something, I was like, "I've never done this. I really want to try." He'd say, "Okay, tell me that something's going to go wrong before you're in too deep and you can do it. Like, go for it." And so they always said, "We hope someday you get to a place where you want to start your own company." That would be so thrilling for us to see other people have that success in the same way. Once they got bought, I think they probably saw the writing on the wall. I don't think they expected me to go to another company. I think they probably thought I would start my own, but just that baby, having little kids at home with insurance. We didn't have daycare at the time. It was too hard to get him into daycare. So we had a nanny, which is so wildly expensive. And then on top of having daycare costs for my daughter. And so it just didn't feel like I could quit my job.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for sharing more of that experience, because it really does sound like the exact type of role that all ambitious people want, where they actually have some latitude to do what they want, but also the opportunity to learn from wonderful experts that have been there. And I can also say, just personally, I have read your writing on LinkedIn now, and I think you're a fantastic writer. So
Thank you
kudos to
for
that.
this job.
Yeah.
He got me there.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Yeah, it totally surprised me when you said that that was outside your comfort zone, because looking at you now, I think you're so good at it.
Thank you. He really was such a good writer. And again, he was somebody that pushed me to try new things, do things differently. Yeah, it was kind of a wild
Yeah.
experience.
Yeah, and what you shared too about having kids and the expense that comes with daycare and nannies, it's so real and it's so hard. And I do think that holds a lot of people back from being able to follow their dreams and their passion. And you did say you were scared when you finally decided to take the leap. So what was that planning process like, and what kind of finally got you over that hump?
Oh my goodness. I don't think people should necessarily do it this way, but I will tell you, I heard someone say once that they tracked the days that they didn't want to go to their job, like the days that they were miserable when they woke up and didn't want to go. And when they hit 30 days, like I think they were doing Post-its, they said once they hit 30 days, they quit. And so essentially, I started waking up every day dreading going to work. It wasn't a company where other people had little kids. When people came and worked there and had little kids, they did not last very long. And I was there a year and a half. So for me to say people didn't last long, I mean, they did not last long. They said that they were supportive, but I think it's very hard for people that don't have kids or had kids 20 years ago to really remember exactly what it's like in those moments. And my son was very sick a lot when he was born. He got ear infections all the time. I was trying to balance all this stuff. And it got to, I think, like 3 months of me being so unhappy. And they eliminated part of the business. So I'm really passionate about healthcare. It's something like people probably see come up a lot on my LinkedIn content. And that's where I loved working. And the company I was at eliminated their healthcare arm. And so a lot of the people that I was working closely with also got laid off. And so I was looking around and trying to decide, how am I going to make this work? What do I want here? And so I asked for really specific things that I wanted to do and the way I wanted to show up. And I said, I want to be seen as a creative that's in line in leadership with the account managers, because if we're not placing that importance on creativity, I don't think that there's going to be the adoption that you're hoping for. And I don't think the agency is going to shift. And I want to help craft the direction that the agency is going. What is the strategic direction? What is our new audience? What are the markets we're looking at? And it was met with silence. So a couple weeks went by and they said, "Oh, well, we're working on the strategy for the agency. We'll let you know." And so I think one more week went by and I said to my husband, "I think I'm just going to quit today." He was like, okay, I want to remind you that you like to do things. Like you're a doer, you like to see results. And so I fully support you quitting your job and I'm along for the ride. But I don't want you to think that starting a company is going to be easy. And I don't want to see you 3 months in having a panic and thinking like, I did the wrong thing. I don't want you to double back. I don't want you to doubt yourself because I believe you can do it, but I want you to know it's going to take time. And so I said, okay. And I said, I could also apply for jobs when I quit. And so I quit, I think 3 days later, I quit.
Wow.
And my boss is like, is it because of the conversation we had? And I was like, yeah. And he's like, could I offer you that now? And I said, no, I think I'm just really satisfied with the decision I made. And so I did apply for a couple jobs. I consulted for them. So I stayed on in a temporary fashion in the role I was in. I helped them fill the role. And so all during that time, I was doing the things, the building the foundations of the company, looking at the target market, looking at how I wanted to be different. And so luckily I had that runway of consulting with them and supporting their team. And that's sort of what I like doing is helping people figure out the strategic direction. I don't think I need to be in there for the nitty gritty. Basically by September, so I quit in the beginning of June, and July 8th, I filed my LLC. And then by the beginning of September, I launched the business completely publicly, and that was it.
Okay, well, that's super exciting. So yeah, you're almost to your full year mark, getting super close.
It's so close.
Oh my God, that's amazing. What has your journey been like?
It was great in the beginning because I had this client immediately. They wanted to do work with me. A couple of projects fell in my lap and I started to pick things up and it was great. And then things with the election happened. And one of the clients we were working with was doing a consolidation of their agencies. And so they shifted to an agency that had larger support, bigger teams, and more full-time staff. So we work on a fractional model. And it was just not a good fit with us. And so then February and March, I was looking around and I was thinking, wow, it's slow now.
Yeah.
And I remembered the words my husband said, and we didn't have a slow time before that. So the 2 slow months that I expected right out the gate sort of came at a different time frame. And it took a lot of energy for me to recalibrate and say, like, this is okay. So what structures can we build? What things can we consider? So that when things pick back up, because they will, do we have everything in place? Do we know how the teams work? Do we know what the processes are? And so I invested a lot during that time in the basic elements that we just hadn't had time to even consider because we hit the ground running so fast.
So how has that been then? What kind of things did you work on in that slow period? And how are things looking now later in the summer?
So things just sort of like popped off. A couple of weeks ago, I was like, oh, okay, it's all coming together. Like all the conversations they've been having, people are really primed and ready to go again. I learned a lot about sales. I wasn't in sales before. I felt like I was great at nurturing existing clients, but getting in the door cold was very challenging for me in the beginning. And so getting those relationships off the ground has been great. So we're moving forward with a lot of that work. And in the meantime, we looked at different AI programs to use. How do we use AI? How do we share files? How do we set up our server? We also have an online routing tool that we use. So it's really easy for our clients to see work. So we looked at the processes there and how that would flow. We set up ClickUp, which I had to have someone help me with. I'm not going to lie. I opened it and it's a project management tool if you don't know. So it can do budget tracking. It can do timelines. It can house all the information for an individual client. You can do intakes with clients through that. So it's an amazing tool, but I opened it and just seeing all those options, I kept closing it. Like I was like, I can't, this is too much for me. I don't know where to begin. This isn't how my brain works. And so I brought someone in that's really, her mind just works that way. And she was like, I want to dig into this. This seems so fun. So we worked on that. We worked on budget tracking. So figuring out exactly how we're going to price, what all of our team members look like, what our packages look like. I built a capabilities deck, which I was like, I don't want to build a capabilities deck. No one wants to see a deck. So I built a deck that I think is more interesting than most capabilities decks. But there are just certain things people like to see. It's easier for them to digest.
Do you feel like that's been helpful, getting all those ducks in a row?
I actually feel like it's been really great. And I feel like then once I got those return phone calls, I was like, oh, okay, I have the things. Like all the things that you want to see now are ready to go. I've had some failure conversations where I think back and I say, oh, I could have said those things differently, or, oh, I could have negotiated this differently. So every time something failed, it's been a positive. And one example, I got on the phone with somebody and we had sent them a budget and they came back and they essentially said, well, we wanted to pay a third of this and we want to pay by the hour. This is how much we would pay and this is how many hours we think it should take. And my mouth just like fell open, I think. I didn't know, I didn't know how to respond because I was like, wait a second. We've had 3 conversations now. We never got to this. This also isn't what we do. We're an agency. So if you want a freelancer, that's a whole different. And so I basically said, I don't think I can do that for you, but let me work on some numbers and get back to you. And in retrospect, for a long time in my career, I got dinged for being a no person. Like, I don't think we can do that. And so I have worked very hard at coming to clients and saying, okay, here's what we can do. This is your goal. This is the way we can approach it. It may not be exactly what you're asking for, but this will work. This will fit in your budget, your timeline, whatever the case may be. And I just didn't take the minute to breathe. And so they ended up ghosting me. And I felt like there was a lot of potential there. But it was a huge learning experience. And so then coming out of that, having the Cape Stack, having our systems ready, we just did a workshop with a client. That was a huge success. We met with them just yesterday and she said, oh, I wanted to tell you, we're moving forward with all 5 of the big ideas we came up with.
Wonderful.
Yeah. And so that was so exciting. And now I feel like if we get that work, I'm not going to be in a place of panic with how do we manage it, where our timeline's going to go, where the file is going to go. It's all ready. Just put it in there and go.
That's awesome. I love your stories. Both of those are great stories. Let's go back to the one that the client or prospect was clearly off the mark in terms of what they thought you could offer and their budget. How would you have addressed that since it's so outside of where you want to be? Like, how would you have done that differently?
I got a couple suggestions and I think there were a lot of effective ones. One of the suggestions that I got from another person who owned an agency, because I spiraled about it for 2 weeks. I was like, oh my gosh, what have I done?
I understand.
This is the end of the world, right? It wasn't the end of the world. But so I shared it with someone and they said, oh, well, you could have said, it sounds like what you're looking for is a freelancer. And we're actually an agency. So we might not be a good fit. Do you think there's someone I could refer you to that would maybe fall in line better with it? And then it doesn't burn the bridge. It doesn't really put them off, but it sets very clear boundaries and expectations about what I am and what I am not.
That's awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, that was my favorite piece of advice. I was like, oh, I love that. So now I know.
I love that too. I had a call this morning with a development team. It's a development team we've worked with, but we're working with a different manager there now. And my husband was there with me. Yeah. I'm very direct, especially when things are a little tense. This is what I want. This is how I want it. I need you to be very clear with me. Come clean. Why are you not doing this? He's very much more relationship-y. And so he's moving things over and he said, oh yeah, we've loved working with your team. We really are so passionate about what we do. We're so passionate about helping moms and babies and just want to continue going forward and seeing what you guys can do. And I'm like, God, I need you. I so need you in my life because you are such a different human. And I think both are good, but we need that balance.
Yeah. Yes, I am very type A. I get on phone calls and I'm like, let's start. And I forget that some people really thrive off having connections, small talk, all that. And so if I don't know someone as well, it's very hard for me. It's shyness, right? On my part, coming up with the right topics and wanting to engage someone enough. So I have to stutter through that some days.
Okay, Marianne, you just said something that I have literally never heard anyone say, that the reason for this is shyness. And I think you're 100% right.
Yeah.
You're blowing my mind right now. Like, how did you come to that realization?
I think it was through some personality testing. I don't even know, but I see it in my daughter where she just wants to get into something else, or she'll put on a funny face or a funny voice. And really early in my career, I used to talk in like a little kid voice when I got nervous, and I didn't know it. I don't even know that I could replicate it now. But I had a manager pull me aside once and he was like, I don't know if you know you do this, but you have a different voice sometimes. And I think you're really nervous. And so that also helped me identify, oh, I'm having a moment of like, are they going to like me? What do I need to say? How can I relate? And I think always as a kid, I was kind of an outsider. Like I was really creative. I never knew what to say. And so I defaulted to either not talking or making jokes. And so now as an adult, I don't feel that different. I'm just in a different setting.
Yeah. And you've learned different coping mechanisms.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Well, thank you for sharing that. That's so interesting. I think it's
Yeah.
amazing.
You know that moment when you realize that you can't keep living the way that you've been living? You've probably heard several of my guests talk about that already. If that resonates with you and you're feeling like you're in that moment, you're in luck. I've created a 30-day program that's going to help you become unstuck, reconnect with your joy, reconnect with yourself, and reconnect with your values. We're going to work together to figure out your next step, your vision, and your path forward. This is an invitation for you to live the life of your dreams that truly lights you up. Visit 101waysout.com to get started.
Okay, so let's go back and tell me a little about what your upbringing was like.
Both my parents were working people. My mom went to college when I was a kid. So she was in a situation where she got out of high school. She wanted to go to college. And I think it was her college counselor that said, "You'd make a much better wife. You shouldn't worry about going to school." And so she didn't. So she went out into the field. I think she was working with an OBGYN and doing some other things, but she was always really passionate about medicine. She ended up getting out of that, working at small business in the town next to hers. My dad had come home from college for a semester, but they ended up meeting. And the rest is kind of history there. But he got into business and was doing glass blowing. And she was working as an office assistant in a doctor's office. And they both decided they wanted more. So my mom went to college. My dad got a job and he was full commission. So she's in college and he comes home one day and he's like, "So I took this amazing job. It's 100% commission." And she was like, "Are you insane? Like, we have a kid." I think I was maybe 3 at the time. And he was like, "Yeah, it's going to be great." And she said it took almost a year for him to see any of the commissions because he was selling brick in New York City to commercial sites. And so it would take at least a year to get the job off the ground, to close the deals. And they're huge. So there's a lot of back and forth. It sounds great. He's a great salesman, but he was also so dedicated to his work and he loved it. So he would drive into Manhattan every day. We lived about an hour outside the city. My mom would go to college. And so I would spend time with my godmother's kids or the next door neighbor. They would come pick me up. And so the beginning of my life was sort of like all hands on deck. It like really was, it takes a village coming to life. Like everybody had me. My parents just loved what they did. So my mom ended up becoming a PA. And so she worked in the ER for a long time. Of course, that was really busy, but they were both very loving. I was an only child and my dad's parents, he worked with his dad in the sales role. And then my grandmother owned like little shops and she was just very business minded. And so I looked at all these role models around me and I thought, working in Manhattan and wearing a suit every day was like the future for me. I was like, it's going to be so great. Like, I want to work in New York. I want to be like my grandmother.
Oh, that's so cool. That's amazing. I love that story.
But like once I got there, I was like, no, this isn't that fun.
But did you work in Manhattan?
I worked in Manhattan and it was fun for a long time. I was trying to figure this out the other day. I think I left after being there 12 years.
Oh, wow.
And I just
That's a long time.
like, this is tiring. Like, I don't know how people live and commute here their whole lives.
Yeah. You lasted double the amount of time I did. I only lived and worked in Manhattan for 6 years.
It's hard.
It does. It takes a lot out of you.
Yeah.
It's great from a career perspective to get your career going and all of that. But yeah, if you want more out of life, I just think it takes a special kind of energy to do that.
Mm-hmm.
What kind of expectations did your parents have for you?
So it's actually funny. I think that in a lot of ways, the way they were raised, me being interested in the arts and creative things seemed like a dead end. Like it was like, well, what do you do with that? How do you actually make money? How do you make a living with that kind of exploration? So they really wanted me to be well-rounded.
Mm-hmm.
That was sort of the theme, be a little bit good at everything. And there were just some things I really didn't want to be good at. I didn't want to invest the time in, I didn't care about. And I totally feel where they were coming from and understand. But my dad was also very supportive. And I think he was the youngest. He felt like he got to make a lot of mistakes. I don't know if that's from being the youngest and sort of being the last one to go, but he would say to me, "I'm going to let you make that decision and let's see how it goes. And I want you to be the one to make the decision because if I make you make a decision, you're going to resent me for it." And so when I was in high school, I think it was my 8th grade year of school. So at the end of middle school, I think is when I started talking about wanting to go to boarding school. My cousins went to boarding school. It was in Connecticut. We lived in New Jersey. And I was at that point where teenage girls are, where my parents were terrible. They were fine.
Of
But
course.
thought they were terrible because I was a teenage girl. And so I was like, I want to get out of here. I want to go do something else. And so he said, if you really want to go, I'll support you in going. And the school had more art classes. And so I went there sophomore year. I had run out of art classes by then to take in the public school. And I remember sitting at a Thanksgiving dinner and my aunt looked at me and she was like, why would you even want to go? And I said, well, I want to take more art classes and they have an ice hockey program and I think it would be really fun to play ice hockey. And she was like, that's ridiculous. Those are ridiculous reasons to decide to switch schools. It really stuck with me. And I think that I thought there was a lot of stigma about being an art teacher. I had a cousin say to me once, I hope that you don't end up poor, but if you do, you can always come live with me. And it was so well-intentioned. She didn't think that there was anything wrong with that. She was like, I don't know what you're going to do with an art degree. But I loved creative things. And honestly, I was not a great fine artist. So I understood why people were maybe a little scared because I wouldn't have made it as a fine artist. And then senior year, that high school had what they called a J term. So during January, you would go intern somewhere for just a month. And I did it at a local elementary school. And I worked with the little kids in the classroom with the art teachers. And I was like, this is amazing. I love this. I could do this for the rest of my life. So that was sort of the path. But I always knew I wanted to do something creative. And I was fine at math and science. I just didn't love it.
Yeah.
It was fun.
Yeah. Isn't it strange how there are those moments that just stick with us when someone says something either incredibly supportive, but so often just critical, and it kind of shapes a bit of who you are or what you second guess?
Yeah. Oh, what is going to happen?
Yeah.
Am I going to be able to do this?
Yeah. So where did you go after boarding school?
So I went to college and I didn't really want to go to college because I was like, I don't know what I want to do. I'm sort of being told that what I want to do isn't a great goal. So maybe I'll go to community college for a couple of years. And the high school I went to was pretty prestigious, right? They valued the colleges they got people into. So it was frowned upon. We had a little guidance counselor session with my parents where they essentially said, you should really just pick a school to go to. So I went to Hobart and William Smith colleges in the Finger Lakes. And they had a good art program. I could play ice hockey. It wasn't that far from home. I ended up not playing ice hockey anymore. Once I got there, I was focused on different things in college. I feel like partying took a front seat instead of all the other things. And it was a path. It was a thing I did.
That's okay.
So, and then I think it was junior year summer. My mom called me one day and she said, I work with this PA and she says that her sister is hiring art interns, some sort of agency. Do you think you want to apply? And I said, I would love to apply. First, I talked to the recruiter and she said, well, we can't put you through because you don't know how to use, I think it was Quark at the time.
Oh my God, yeah.
And something in Adobe. And so I met I think he was an ACD there. I met him and he said, do you know how to do these different things? I said, nope, but this is my art. This is what I like. He somehow still saw my resume and said, yeah, we can absolutely talk to her. And so he said, okay, that's fine that you don't know that. I'll teach you. And so he brought me in. And this is the luck that my life has had, which is why I think the universe always has my back, right? There's always some safety net that comes through. And so that was my first really great experience with a mentor. And so he just brought me up through the ranks. He showed me how to do everything. He showed me how to make my own portfolio. And he just pushed me. He really wanted me to figure things out. And he had me managing, I forget if she was a direct report or if he just had me managing work with somebody one level below me, almost 1 year in. He said, it's great to learn because then you don't hold the work too personally, too close to you because it's not your work. It's the client's work and you're doing it for them. So you can't take it too personally. And that was a great experience. I think we should do that more with people. Just let them manage early on. You're going to make mistakes, but Who doesn't?
Yeah, absolutely. I think some of the best managers that I've ever had have been younger people. That's so neat. What a cool experience.
It was really great.
So is that what made you decide to go in the agency direction instead of the teaching direction?
Yeah. So essentially at the end of that summer, I asked him, I was like, Mark, do I really have to go back to college? Because I hate it there. I'm ready to be done. And he said, just survive this year. And I promise you, I will find a way to hire you at the end of your senior year. And he did. And so he hired me, and it was pharmaceutical advertising of all things. But that summer that I interned, one of the other creatives in the department had a calendar project that they needed support on. And so he let me work with her. And the project was for BPH, which is a prostate thing. So it was all around toilets. And so she was making a calendar with 13 unique images of weird toilets around the world. And so she had me researching the weirdest toilets in the world. And I was like, who wouldn't want this job? Like, I get to look at artist portfolios because they're going to create renderings of these crazy toilets. And I get to look up, it was just, I never imagined that there would be a career where I could do things like that every day.
That's amazing.
Yeah. It's like, yep, sign me up.
The ice hockey piece. Were you always into ice hockey? Were you always into sports?
I was always into sports, and I always liked being active, and it makes me feel really good. It helps me sleep, things like that. But I dated a boy that played ice hockey when I was a freshman in high school. And I was like, this is so cool. I want to be able to play ice hockey. And we had skated. We had a lake in our backyard that would freeze for the winter. And my dad liked ice skating. He would play pickup games with friends. And so I said, they have a program, and I think that would be so cool. So I just jump into stuff. I hear about it and I'm like, let's do it. That sounds great.
That's so neat. Anything else that you feel like shaped you as a child, made you who you are today?
I think my grandmother a lot. I think the fact that she was business savvy and she was working into her 60s and she thought it was fun. She liked to have conversations with clients and she had really good taste and she was so kind. And I just thought, well, she was doing this well before her time. There's no reason that I can't do whatever I dream of.
That's awesome. Is there one thing that you wish you'd known before you left the corporate setting?
How hard new business is. Business development. And so I've met really amazing people that have offered a lot of insights and help with it. And I think it was just one thing that I knew would be hard, but I really underestimated exactly how hard. And I knew that I would be working a lot, which is why I wanted to make sure both my kids were at least in daycare by the time I did this. I went full time into it. And I think that's it. I knew it would take time, but everybody's journey is so different. So you never know where the time is going to come, where you have a slow period. But I think it's inevitable that you do.
Yeah, absolutely. How has that been, the roller coaster that being an entrepreneur brings? Has it been difficult in the ups and downs, or is there something that you've used to kind of help you get through that?
It's been really difficult. To be honest with you, the thing that I've used most is trying to support others. So what I found throughout my life, and this is a little bit, so I don't drink anymore. So this comes from my experience not drinking and the people that I've surrounded myself with in that process. But sort of one thing always comes across with my friends that are also non-drinkers is the more you're doing for others, the less you're worrying about your own life. And when I don't worry about things, it's like the universe just shows up. And so I've been looking at doing more service. I ended up working with a local organization, Veterans Without Orders. They're in Kansas City, and they have this humanitarian mission. It was really wild how we got introduced. It was through someone I had known in New Jersey who no longer lives there, who lives in North Carolina. He went on the board, reached out to him about it, interested. He ended up telling me to meet the person that founded it. And I found out he lived 15 minutes from me. And then he introduced me to Barry Arnold, who introduced me to you. Yeah. So it was all these different things where I was like, wow, the universe knows. And so during the downs, it's always what can I do for other people? How can I not think about myself? Because I cannot force clients to sign deals, to get back to me. I can only show up and be as supportive as they'll allow me to be. I can only share as much as they want to hear. And then I have to wait.
I think that is the most brilliant advice. Oh my gosh, I feel like I'm getting teary-eyed. What you've said has just completely touched my heart. And I'm just so thankful for this conversation and what you just shared. So thank you.
Sorry I made you cry.
That's all right. I'm an emotional person. I own it. It's good. I'd rather be.
Like, it is really hard in those downtimes because I want to like wrestle it. I want to re-email people a million times. I wouldn't want salespeople doing that to me, but
I know sometimes you just want to shake people. Don't you realize how good this is going to be for you?
Yeah.
Just say yes.
I just want to help you make more money. That's all it is.
Yeah. I know it's the right thing. Come on.
Yeah.
So you've been on this journey for almost a year. What has life been like before and after? How has it changed?
Oh, it is so much better. So even on the days, like I told some of my friends, I was like, I can't believe I left a perfectly good job for this. Like, I don't know what I'm doing. One of my friends was like, let's backtrack. Let me recount to you. You did not leave a perfectly good job. You left a perfectly good paying job that was making you question yourself every single day and doubt your abilities. So that's not what happened. It is a lot more now like it was when I worked with that company with the 4 founders in California. They would tell me, go do things with your kids. Don't work too late. If my boss saw me sending emails at night or commenting on a document, he would check in the next day and say, I just want to know why you were working at 10 o'clock at night. And I'd be like, oh, I signed off at 2 because I wanted to take my daughter to the pool. And so I had a couple of things to close out. And he'd be like, okay, great. I just want to make sure you're not working 12-hour days. And so I've been able to return to a mindset where I'm an adult. And so if I need to balance my life by taking care of things with my kids during the day and then working at night, I can. I think I've also come to realize and be very comfortable with the fact that we can't have it all, not all at the same time and not all at the same level, at least. So there are days where I can be really present with my kids and I won't be doing as much work. That can't be all the time. And the other thing is early on, my kids would sometimes call the nanny mom, and people were like, doesn't that bother you? And I was like, well, if I think about what a mother is, it's someone that loves and cares for you and nurtures you. And so it doesn't really bother me, but I've become more comfortable almost with the idea that anybody can parent my child, right? We're all in it together, and there are values that I instill in them and time I spend with them. But there's also this other thing that I'm nurturing that fulfills me. And my career really does fulfill me. I love seeing things completed for clients, having the satisfaction of knowing that we put a campaign out into the world. Like, that's so fun for me. And if I didn't have that, I don't think I'd be a good mother.
Oh, that's so genius. I love everything you just said.
It would be cool sometimes, I think, to be somebody that like didn't care about their career, but I don't know how to do that.
Yeah, me neither. And I think society does make it really difficult. Society broadly, expectations about what it means to be a working mom or a mom in general, and that you're supposed to subjugate your own desires for those of your children. And it's not fair and it's not fulfilling. I was fortunate enough as well for the first 5 years of our kid's life to have a nanny for him. And he also did the same thing where he would call her mom.
Yeah.
And honestly, there were moments that it kind of bugged me a little bit, but for the most part, it actually more so made me happy. Because I felt like if I could pick a mom for you, that wasn't me, because obviously I'm the perfect mom for you. But if I could pick a mom for you, I would have picked Autumn, our nanny, because she is the sweetest, most loving, most fun person that I've ever met in my life. And she curated so many amazing activities and experiences for this kid. Like, I would look at his life and think, I want your life. You're having the most fun of any kid I've ever seen. And this is all before COVID spun things in a slightly different direction, but she was still amazing even then finding things to do. And I loved what I was doing at the same time. So I was able to kind of have the life I wanted and be a mom and have it all, you know.
But the other thing I'm realizing is that there are certain things that I really have to give up at home because it takes away from the business and it takes away from my kids. And I feel so lucky that my husband is open to that, right? To open to different roles, open to getting help where we need it. Because there come times where I look around and I say, if I need to build this business and focus on that, and that's going to be our livelihood, folding the laundry right now, it's not a thing that I can be doing. Or, you know, whatever the case may be. And so I am definitely learning to ask for help in new ways on different things than I ever thought I would. Because at first I think I thought this wasn't a real job. Like I'd be like, I'm not working now. And it's like, actually, you have a full-time job. So I have to do it.
I am still struggling with that because I have someone that comes and cleans every now and then. And when I had the nanny, Autumn, when she was here, she would do everything every day, cooking, cleaning, stuff for our kid mostly, but she would clean the house and our laundry. And now I don't have that every day. And I'm like, God, I miss that. So I need to get back at that mindset where it's okay to have more help.
It is, because it's a lot. I used to say I would love to be a stay-at-home mom if I didn't have to clean the house and I didn't have to cook, right? Like if I could just hang out with my kids, sure, that would be amazing. But there's so much that goes into even cooking for them. I'm like, I have to figure out what to cook if I have the ingredients, and then I have to actually execute on
Yeah, it's so time consuming.
it. It is. And I get
Yeah.
decision fatigue. Like I'm making
100%.
decisions for everyone on my team, for clients, for myself all day. And at the end of the day, I just want it to be easy.
I don't blame you at all. I do too. I'm right there with you. Tell me a little bit about your team and your team structure, and then talk about how your income has changed from your full-time job to where you are now.
Okay. So our team is completely 1099 contractors, except for myself. And so I think that I want it to be that way forever. We'll see how things evolve. But what I noticed in the agency world was we would have salaries, were full-time people, but we would work weekends, we would work holidays. There was no compensation for it. We also didn't get to decide what we worked on. And the roles were very structured. You were either an art person, you were a copy person, a digital person, whatever you were doing, it was all set in these very strict boxes. And so the way I'm doing it is we have contractors who tell me how much time they have, how much time they want to dedicate, and what kinds of clients they work on. And then we go out and look for clients that fit that bill. And so most of it is passion-led projects. So health, women's health, rare disease, pediatric, I'm trying to think, oncology, or there's some social things that we're looking at too. So more to come on that. I can't say too much now. And then I ask them what they really like doing and what they're good at. And so we've got somebody that's an art director, that's his background, but he's really amazing at video. He's really great at animation. And he's also playing a little bit with digital animations, which is a whole different program. It kind of blows my mind. That's what he does on the clients that we have. He doesn't have to work on every type of deliverable for every single client, because I think that's where people sort of burn out and get uninspired. Same goes with the writers. And so the way we structure the business is once we find a client that has a need and they're looking for some change to their business, right? Like more clients, more sales, whatever. We go in and we figure out exactly what they need from a strategic story perspective. So usually there's some sort of arc we need to get over, right? And so we build out the different programs that can get them there. And then individuals are assigned to those jobs and we estimate them out that way.
That's fantastic.
That's how it's built, hoping it can stay that way. And the first year, the income is less for sure than where I was. It's funny because someone said to me, like, after you've been in business for a year, more people will be likely to trust that you're a sustainable business and you're going to stay in business. And so as we're coming up to this year, which is what, 7 days out, 6 days out, we have a bunch of things in the pipeline that will actually shift. And my income will probably be what it was when I left my last company next year.
Congrats. That's great.
So fingers crossed, of course,
Yeah.
nothing's written in stone and things can always change. But yeah, like I said, those first few months were amazing. Like nothing changed in our lifestyle. And then we hit tariff season, we'll call it, and everybody froze everything. And I was like, we're on a spending diet. We have to figure out what we're doing here, but we're recovering. So
yeah. No, I feel you. I think I've talked to so many people that have been in that same boat. Everything kind of dried up and pause was hit across the board. So yeah. Do you have an ultimate vision for what you want your life to look like?
I don't know that I have an ultimate vision for my life. I really feel like I have the ultimate vision for my company.
Ooh, let's hear it.
Because working with creatives is like absolutely where I thrive. Like I love watching other people try new things and get excited that they did it. And so what I really want is to continue to build the company and have enough creatives that work with me on a regular basis that they're also mentoring other creatives and we can bring in new people, because something that seems like it's happening in the holding company world is that those more junior creatives aren't learning. And so if you go out freelance, it seems great. You'll get paid for your weekends. You get paid for every hour you work. But then who is mentoring you? Who's teaching you things? How are you staying up on trends? How are you finding new business? And so I want to essentially have a model where it's a little bit like a hair salon. So you can come in, use our tools, you get some benefits. You can bring your clients there and partner with other people. But we're doing enough work and sustainable work that clients are excited to work with the unique people we have.
That's awesome. So I can see you're definitely thinking and focusing more on where you're taking the business than the day-to-day family side of things. Like that seems like, hey, that's good. Things are good. You keep that going as it is.
Yes. And I mean, my husband would love to be at home with the kids. I think we just have different things that bring us to life, and that brings him to life. And so he's like, I can pick up and that's fine. Happy to do the after school stuff. He likes to take them to school every day. And honestly, if I never had to step foot in that school, I'd be fine. It does not bring me any joy. So
I understand. Would his dream be to be able to be a stay-at-home dad or no?
yeah,
Is that pushing it too far?
So.
Yeah.
I think
He's
so.
like, get your agency going, girl. Get it, like, grow it up and let's do this.
And he's like, I can support, because he does IT. He said, I can do your networking. I can do your IT support. I'm like, we can have a nice life and I'll take care of the kids, do activities with them. So
I love that. Yeah, that's the same energy my husband has. He's like, grow your business. I'll be here supporting you.
And I think it's perfect because if we were both looking to have wild careers, I don't think our kids would get any attention.
Yeah, it'd be hard. I mean, your parents managed it. Both of them seemed like they were very driven.
They were very driven. But I also felt like I was kind of just like doing my own thing a lot.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was a latchkey kid.
You have a big community thanks to the village that you were raised in.
Yeah. Yeah. And I just knew it was sort of like what their goals were. And they did great. And so they have more time with us now. And I guess it's sort of true. You give it up somewhere. So like I had kids later in life, but I had so much of my early life to devote to work, building my career, things like that. And they did it more just when I was around.
Yeah.
So
if you had to choose between happiness or success, which one would you choose? And has that changed for you?
So I think my definition of success has changed because of what makes me happy now. So definitely happy. I remember it was my second job. I was working at FCB and I met the creative director and he was very young. I don't even remember if he was 30. And I was like, I'm going to be a creative director by the time I'm 30. Like, this is what I want to do. I thought it was the ultimate goal. And I thought that's what success would look like. I did not become a creative director by the time I turned 30. I think I was like 35. And I got there and I was like, well, this isn't that cool. I go to meetings all the time. I don't do the craft anymore. What is this? And so I read this article by a woman that worked at National Geographic. I don't know if she's there anymore, but she said her role was really funny. And she said, well, I got here and I was doing all these unique things. And so I just made up the title for myself and it worked. And so if you don't know what you want to do, design what you want to do and then figure out what the title is. Like, don't align yourself to a title. I was in my 30s still when I read that. And I was like, oh, I don't have to be a creative director, or like I can be a creative director, but do different things. And so I stopped putting myself into this box of what my success is supposed to look like. I mean, I don't live in New York anymore. I thought that was going to be the measure of success. And so really I'm chasing, I think, liking who I am, and liking the people I work with. And I think that is what success means now instead of all the other stuff I thought it.
Yeah. I think it's so interesting how it changes just based on our life. And then when we get to where we think we're supposed to be and that we're going to be happy and that it's going to all suddenly click into place and then it doesn't. And you're like, oh, well, crap. I guess I need to rethink what this is actually.
And I could like keep creating milestones for me to be happy at, or I could just be happy now.
Yes. 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 It's so hard to like realize that and figure that out. When you talk about chasing happiness in yourself or with who you are, how are you going about that?
I think it's really showing up for other people and like creating a business where I feel like I'm transparent with people. That was one thing that I always took very seriously when I managed. And so the largest team I ever managed was 18 people. And I tried to tell them the truth. And I tried to not show up with what I like to call toxic positivity. Like, this sucks. We're going to have to work this weekend. It's not going to be great. But here is what I can tell you about it. It's going to be over at this point. These are the milestones. This is what you can expect. And it seemed like it worked a lot better. People were a lot happier. My turnover in my department is very low. And so I feel like starting a company, I look at kind of the Elf brand and the way they talk about how they bring their employees into things. And I think that's what I want. I want people to feel invested in the company that they're working with.
Oh, that's interesting. I don't know anything about them. Could you share a little bit?
Sure. So it's really employee led. And so they have, I think, stocks or equity or something, but it is very ground level up. There's more, I guess, horizontal structure. And so everyone that talks about the company that works there loves it because they're really involved in the decision making and they benefit off the different things that they're doing.
Yeah. Yeah. That makes sense. That level of buy-in and being able to have input and have a feeling like your voice matters is so important.
And so I want to build a structure, but then also like Ocean Spray is a collective of, I guess, fruit growers. And so it's like, well, can I get to a point where the company is stable enough? And then different people have a stake in it. So I don't know if it's like franchised or just collective in that same way, but that's what I want to try and figure out long run. So I'm hoping like 5 years we'll be able to get to that place.
Oh, that's fantastic. Ah, I love it.
Thanks.
What advice would you give to people who are trying to figure things out in their life right now and thinking about taking the leap into something new?
Well, I think I've met some women in Kansas City recently who are starting companies and they're in their 20s. And I am like, yes, this is so awesome. Good for you. Because I always thought this will be too hard for me. This isn't a good time. There will be a better time. And it's just like waiting to be happy. You can either decide to do it right now or you can wait, but like both of them are going to suck. There's going to be moments where you're like, wow, this is so much harder than I thought it was. But if you do it when you first feel like you want to do it, then you can say you've done it. And like when I told my husband, I was like, but what if I fail? He was like, what if you fail? And I said, well, what do I do? He said, worst case scenario, you get another job. Like your life isn't over. And so in a lot of ways, I wish I did it when I was younger. But I don't think I would have met those great guys. And I don't think I would have learned enough. So it all happens the way it's supposed to. But I would say, if you wake up every morning and you hate your job and you don't want to get out of bed and you don't feel supported, you don't feel seen, you don't feel like you're growing, you don't feel challenged, get out. Do your own thing.
That's great. It worked. It worked for you. It's working.
Yeah.
What's the most liberating decision that you've been able to make now that you would not have been able to make before?
I maybe would have been able to make this decision, but I doubt it. But we're going to go to see my parents for 2 weeks. We're going to do a road trip. We're going to stay with them. We're going to work remotely. We're going to bring the kids. My parents live in Texas and they live 3 hours west of Dallas. So in my opinion, it's annoying to fly there because you have to fly to an airport, to fly to another airport or drive. So I was like, let's just drive. And they're getting to an age where I think it's really important for my kids to see where they live and have an experience there, whether or not it's the only one or not. And I think it would have been a hard thing to manage with a full-time job.
Yeah, absolutely. That's wonderful that you guys can do that.
Yeah. We can work from anywhere.
Yeah, that's powerful.
Great.
Okay, last question. What is saving your life right now?
The females that I'm friends with, either professionally or personally, in any area of my life, it's the other women. I met with someone else recently. It was the first time meeting and she was like, the morning is so crazy. And I was like, I know. What is that? And it's women. I think this happened for me when I was at the company in California. I got on a call with a woman and I had just gone on a business trip and my daughter was 3 months old or 6 months old. And she was like, was it weird? And I was like, Kim, I have to tell you, I actually loved it. And she was like, oh, that's how I felt when I had Mia. And I was like, thank God. You know, because I felt like such a pariah. I was like, I was excited to get away from my new baby daughter. But it turns out a lot of women feel that way. And so, yeah, it's always the women.
I was so excited to go back to work.
Yeah.
I know people want longer maternity leaves, and I'm all for that if it's helpful,
that's what
but
you want.
that's what you want. But I didn't even take my... I had 12 weeks and I didn't take it all at once. I just was gone for as long as I could possibly stomach, which I don't even remember how much it was, maybe 8 weeks. And I was just like, yeah, I'm ready to go. I'm ready to go back. I want to be back. I want to be back around grownups. I love my baby, but I will see my baby when I'm not working.
Yes. Well, I also had my first child in COVID. And so we were in California. We were still in lockdown. My husband was working from home a couple of days a week and our nanny was living with us. And I was like, get me out of here. Like, I will come into the office. And they were like, I don't know that you're allowed. So I would go in by myself because I was like, it doesn't matter that nobody's here. No one is here. Amazing.
Yeah. You just need a break sometimes.
Yeah.
Have you always felt that appreciation for other women in your life, or do you feel like it's changed over time?
It's definitely changed over time. And I think, I was wild when I was young. Like, I was doing my own thing, living on like maybe a different planet. I'm not sure that people could really relate to me. And I always thought like other people are the problem, women and men. I didn't really feel like I related to anybody. And then over time and quitting drinking and all those different things, I came to discover that there is just a different level of support from women. And there's very rarely an agenda that they have.
Yeah. That's so cool. I feel like over the last several years of my life, I've come to a similar conclusion, and I've leaned more and more into the female friends in my life and making new ones. But I wonder has it always been like that and I just didn't realize it early enough, or is it like an age thing, or I don't know. So I was just curious.
I don't know. But I also sometimes wonder if it's generational because like I hear sometimes older women saying like, oh, well, working with women is like X and it's some sort of negative thing. I'm like, that's interesting. That's not the experience I have. Like I've had really great experiences.
Yeah, I have not ever had, knock on wood, because who knows where life takes us. I have not ever had a female boss that was good, that I loved, that I liked. Like and I really honestly haven't had very many female bosses, but the worst boss I've ever had was a woman,
Oh.
But I've been able to have women on my team, and they have been the best employees I have ever had, minus like one guy. I've had a couple of good guys. I've had one really great guy. But in general, the women have been amazing. And I've been fortunate enough to stay friends with a lot of the folks that I've worked with. And I've just seen them go and flourish in their careers, that I feel like I can talk to them still about all kinds of things. And I'm just like, wow, can we just have more of this energy in the world?
Yeah. Yes, I absolutely love it. And it's true. I mean, I was on the phone earlier today for an hour with someone that used to work with me. She used to work for me, but she's so talented, right? Like I always want to hire people that I'm like, I could work for you someday. Like you're amazing.
Yeah, I know. Like I'm watching these ladies. I'm like, who knows? 10 years from now, maybe they'll need something that I can offer. Who knows? You're totally right. Okay, 2 questions. Last, wrapping it up. First one, how can people find you if they want to know more about you?
I would say LinkedIn is probably the safest bet. So Marianne Kaiser, and I'm in Kansas City. So you'll know me because of the orange dress of my LinkedIn photo.
Fantastic. And I'll make sure I have all of that in the show notes. And then is there anything that we didn't cover or I didn't ask you that you really want to talk about?
No, I would just say, again, anyone, right? If they're doubting themselves, just know that a lot of people run on self-confidence only. So like jump into it. And if someone else trusts you to do the job, you're probably underselling yourself.
Oh, that's beautiful. All right. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you.
This has been 101 Ways Out. I so appreciate you taking your valuable time and spending it with me. I hope something in this episode made you feel seen, understood, and inspired. If you're looking for support taking the next step in your life, visit 101waysout.com and check out our 30-day program. Don't forget to subscribe to this podcast on all of your favorite podcast platforms and follow our social media. Spread the word. I look forward to seeing you next week and continuing to explore what lights you up.